7 to 14 minutes, of course. And the second one.
Which part of the test is a two-way discussion with the examiner about abstract issues and ideas. Part 3.
Of course, part 3 and number 3.
The assessment criteria, fluency and coherence relate to. But teacher, what is abstract?
Okay, so the assessment. So here, the assessment criteria, fluency and coherence relates to the range of vocabulary used. And which one you mean? Number 2. Okay, so when we say abstract issue, do you remember that I talked about abstract art? Do you remember?
Yes, okay.
Okay, so this is something general. When we ask some abstract about some abstract issues, it means some general topics, not based on particular exam. So we say this is a general topic. So this is abstract, maybe issue, argument, discussion. Okay, it means general, not based on particular. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and now the next one. Fluency and coherence relates to
I think C.
Okay, so yeah, the flow of speech and how you connect, of course, coherence and fluency, of course. Number 4, which part of the test is known as long turn?
Part 2, of course.
Okay, of course. And which parts of the test are linked by topic or theme?
Part 1 and part 2.
Okay, you say part 1 and part 2, but when we say theme or topic, part 2 is okay. Part 1 is too general, abstract, general. So parts 2 and 3, actually linked by, for example, as you know, normally the questions on part 3 are related to part 2. It means they're related to part 2. So 2 and 3 are linked, not 1 and 2. 1 is general, something personal, some personal questions, general questions. So 2 and 3.
But I think that number 1 is also talk about topic. It's like eating habit or.
Of course, just pay attention. Let me show you something. Linked by, it means they have the same topic. They chase the same topic. So the topic that is given on your cue card is followed by some questions on part 3. Some other questions. So these two parts are linked by the same topic.
Yeah.
Of course, we have topic in part 1, but some general questions, they're not related to part 2 or part 3, but 2 and 3 are related. Okay, and the last one, in the assessment criteria, which is indicated by GRA.
Yes, and I think no. I think that's C.
C, grammar range and accuracy, of course. And 7, describe the focus of the questions in part 1.
Mm, yeah. Yes.
Of course, simple general questions, familiar topics, personal focus. And how long do you get to prepare your answer in speaking part two?
A.
Of
1 minute.
course, 1 minute. Okay,
But
well, now let's talk.
but
Uh, yeah.
because I don't know why, but my school give me about 1 minute and 30 seconds to prepare speaking but
Yeah.
two.
1.5. Okay. So because it's your school, it's not IELTS, it's school. For example, in writing practice, okay, we give more than 20 minutes. It's okay. You can have, for example, half an hour to write, but it's not IELTS, just we're preparing. Of course, in IELTS, you have 1 minute, and after that, you need to start talking. So 1 minute, but this is your school, this is a practice, so no matter.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about these questions. I will give you some alternatives, some words, phrases, and you can talk about them. Okay. Do you live in a house or apartment?
I live in uh in a house which has a very big bedroom for me, and from the window of this room there will be a view of the whole city.
Okay. So you live in a house. Okay, tell me if it's located in the middle of city or in the suburbs. So we're on the outer skirts, so countryside. So you can say something like about the location. So again, so you live in a house.
I live in a house uh, which locate no, I live in a house located in in the middle of the town where
Mhm.
yes, okay, that's all.
Okay, so in the middle of the city or town with large windows overlook there, for example, you're the garden, the city, for example, the street. So overlook. Okay. And for example, you want to say that uh, I enjoy the view. So, for example, with some large windows overlook the city, and I enjoy the view. So you can say, I take in the views. So take in the views means enjoy. Take in the views means enjoy. Let me write.
Yes.
Take in the views, or you can say to soak up the views. So, or to soak up the views. So both of them means to enjoy. To enjoy the views.
Yes.
Okay, well, next question. I'm just okay. Okay. If you could choose any country to visit, where would you go?
I would consider myself as a person who who is a big fan of basketball and NBA superstar player. So I would say that I will choose to take a visit or pay a visit to America.
Okay, of course. Good. And what are the main issues affecting life in your town? Maybe about
Yeah,
pros and cons. Now, cons of living in your town.
I think that living in anywhere always has their pros and cons, and not except my town. From my point of view, I think that people in my town is like there are there is a lack of awareness of protecting environment of people in my town. So they sometimes throw the rubbish in the road, and you can see it. It's like how can we say if um, how can we say the rubbish is on the road, but it's like it's in the light. Teacher.
I don't I don't get what you mean.
Can I have time to translate it because I don't know this word.
Okay, so rubbish you mean litter you mean rubbish what you mean? I don't get what you mean.
It's like I think that I need to translate it.
So you mean that, for example, you see some litter on the street, you mean?
Yes, but it's
Litter,
like
yeah.
um you like you can see it in on the whole street.
So of course, so people throw garbage, okay? So people throw garbage on the street, so you can see, you can find them everywhere. So I
Yes, okay.
don't get what you exactly mean. Just do you want to find any special word? But I don't know
Yeah.
what word. Just try to say what you want to say so that I can help you.
Um, I I also don't know.
Yeah. So you can say something like this. Let me help you. Let me change your answer. So actually, you want to talk about something like convenience and laziness that make people throw garbage on the street. So actually, people find it more convenient, okay, to put and to throw garbage or litter on the street, okay? So they are really unwilling to make the effort to find a proper, for example, waste, I don't know, something like waste bin. They don't need to, they don't want to. Okay, so so let me help you to write them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's better. So now you can, because for example, first of all, in my town, maybe the most important issue about my town is to actually throwing garbage on the street. And why? Now I want to say, for example, due to convenience and laziness. Now you want to explain it. For example, people normally choose to litter if they find it convenient, of course, or, oh, let me put this here, convenience, or, as I told you, are unwilling to make the effort to find Proper, for example, proper garbage, or no, waste is better. Waste bin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it's because of, you said that it's something like a culture. So insufficient awareness and education. So another reason that it actually can be due to insufficient
Yeah.
awareness and education. Okay. Yeah. You can say some individual instead of some people. You can say some individual may not be fully aware of the negative consequences of littering.
Yeah.
So you can say some individuals may not be fully, completely aware of the negative consequences of littering. This can be your answer. I think the best one.
Teacher,
Okay. Yes.
why we have the on the work? Uh,
We have what word?
is yeah. This one.
This
Why
one,
we,
some individuals,
no. Uh,
insufficient awareness and education.
some individual may not be fully aware of the negative. Why we have the on the negative?
Because it's negative. Why do we have negative? This, so
Yeah.
it's typed itself. So negative consequences, bad aspects, results of littering. When you put, of course, there are some negative aspects and results, consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they're not, they're not aware of negative. So because of this, they threw garbage on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you have any other questions related to this one?
I think no.
Okay, good. Well, now, what do you like about the area where you live?
I think that since I I think that um, most of the part of my town I reckon that um, yeah. My town is the place where I live in where I have lived since since I couldn't remember until now, and of course it contains a lot of memories and celebrates that I that's like they are unforgettable, and this is also where I spent my childhood here, and a lot of a lot of friends, a lot of my friends still live in here, and I think that is is my shelter.
Yeah, of course. So, well, so of course it can remind you lots of memories from past, special memories, your childhood, of course. So good. Well, let me give you some alternatives. Of course, they may not related to your, of course, town, but for example, maybe you will be asked about living in town or maybe countryside. or you want to talk about somewhere where is really, I don't know, green, beautiful. Okay, so now you have some advantages that you can discuss. Of course, sometimes you can use them as disadvantages using nots. For example, there are some alternatives that you can mention to talk about maybe pros and cons of living in cities, okay, or countryside. So the first one, fresh air. Uh, Greenery, or maybe lots of greenery. So slow or maybe fast. So slow or fast, maybe pace of life, speed of life. Life is too fast, especially in cities. Pace
Yeah.
of life. Yeah. So you may have or no. And your place can be quiet and peaceful, may not. Yes or no? Okay. And of course, less or more air and noise pollution.
Yes.
And the last one that you can mention, low or high cost of living. Something that you can mention. And the other points, like, for example, especially about negative points. For example, if you have weak communication network, if, for example, in countryside, about internet, or for example, job opportunities. So few job opportunities. And sometimes you live somewhere, of course, not about your case because you live in the middle of town, so you don't live far away from other people. So sometimes some people live in some areas far away from other people, like countryside. So you can say, talk out in the sticks. It means from, far away from other people. Okay. Sometimes you can get lonely because you're stuck out in sticks. You get lonely. So, okay, so you can use them while talking about maybe pros and cons of the area and the place that you live. Okay. How might overpopulation affect city life in the future?
From my personal perspective, that the ratio of um, population nowadays is very high. It's much higher and rise considerably. It's like rise more considerably than it a lot of years ago. So I think that in the future, people won't like there will be lack of space for people live and also lack of food and drink from human maybe. And of course, like uh, the facility will go down and the life the lifestyle will I think worse than now.
The lack of enough facilities make people to move to maybe other places. Yeah. And how often do you use public transport in your town or city?
Yeah, uh-uh. I think that mm, I think it's I have to say that never because I study in a in a boarding school, so I just I just go home on at the weekend, and during 2 days at my home I just stay at home or go somewhere, and my parents will drive me, and I don't need to use the public transport.
Yeah, so it's not something common in your country.
Yeah,
So let's talk about maybe disadvantages of.
teacher, what you have
Yeah.
said I can't hear clearly.
Okay, so you said that actually it's not really common to use public transport in your town,
Yes.
and I want to know about disadvantages.
Discipline. Mm, the disadvantages of public transport.
Mhm. No, disadvantages of using private cars, not public transport. So you
I,
say that people don't use public transport to move and to go and travel. So they normally use their own cars. So I want to know about
I,
disadvantages of you. Yeah.
teacher, I just say this just about me. It's not most of it's not most of my people in my town.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. It's about, so normally your parents give you a lift.
Yes.
So of course you can say, give me a lift, take you somewhere if you need, give you a lift.
Yes.
Okay, well, and why is it important to look after places of natural beauty? Why?
Natural beauty. I think that's uh, because beauty roles are very like I just forgot the synonym of important.
Essential, crucial, essential, significant. You can say all that.
Can you type the social? I don't.
Of course. Let me type. Okay. Let me type it here. Essential.
Social.
It's necessary, important, crucial, significant.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, because beauty roles are very as significant role in our life and our relationship nowadays. I have heard somebody say that beauty is just like the appearance, and they don't care much about them. But if you have beauty, you will like the opportunity will like the opportunity to find work or to work with some famous people will will be higher, and it's also the uh, how can we say something that we have but another person don't have, teacher?
Something that we have that another person don't
Yeah,
have?
it's also the
Ownership, you mean?
what
Ownership?
what is mean?
Ownership, you mean?
Nah, I don't know.
Property, possession. So what you mean?
It's like something that we strong about it, but some person don't have it.
So
Doesn't
you mean strength point?
I don't know.
A
I
strength
don't.
point?
Can you type it?
A strength or
Yes,
so you
my no, it's not. It's not about uh
ability you mean? I don't know what you mean.
it's like something that's like ability, and
Okay, so ability. Power, ability, strength. I don't know what you mean. Just make your sentence, then I can help you find a good word. But now I don't understand what you want to say.
yeah.
So let
Uh,
me help you while you're thinking. Let me help you. Okay. We're going to talk about nature. And when it comes to nature,
sure.
yeah, yeah, say.
I is it advantage? It's like
Adva- okay, advantage. Something that, yeah, advantage.
yeah, yeah.
Good points. You mean good point, positive points, benefits, advantage. Okay, yes. Yeah.
Oh, because I just have I just know the meaning of advantage, like it will good for someone, and I don't know this also have the meaning like this one. Oh,
Of course it has. Well, so
I
yeah,
can
of course.
understand technology.
Yeah, of course, yes, sure. Just make some notes, then we will keep going. Let me do something. So let's answer this question because I want to write something on the board. Then I will give you time to write them down. Okay. So because I want to give you some words to talk about nature. Okay. And then I will give you time to write them.
Yeah,
When it
yeah.
comes to the nature, the first maybe things, the first word that come to our minds are maybe mountain range or hills, steep valleys, dense forests, freshwater lakes, and fast flowing streams. Maybe the fields full of uh, something like sheep, cows, and some other animals. Okay, maybe a field of cattle. So cattle is maybe cows and sheep and some other. So or livestock. So let me write them for you. Then you can talk. Okay, and they make our beautiful our actual lives more beautiful, lively, beautiful. And if we remove them, okay, if we actually do something to make them maybe disappear and vanish them, of course, the first negative point, disadvantage, okay, is not to have fresh air, beauty, and something like this. Now let me write them. Okay, some words like, for example, the first word, mountain range, maybe a group of mountains or hills or dense forests or steep valleys. So let me think. Okay, freshwater lakes. And another one, fast flowing stream. So fast flowing stream, fields full of cattle, like, I don't know, cow, sheep, okay. And, well, for example, you can say cows and sheep graze in the field, so something like this. Okay, now you can write. So they're the words that you can use to talk about nature. Okay, from the beginning, let me scroll up. It's okay? Can you see? Okay. And let me help you. Let me put them here. Just give me a moment. Okay. Now you can see them better.
Yes, thank you, teacher.
You're welcome.
Teacher, the word
Yes.
abstract is an adjective or a noun?
Abstract,
Yes.
it can be considered as an adjective. Sometimes, of course, sometimes, let me say something. For example, sometimes you can use it as a verb. Sometimes you can use it as a noun. Sometimes an adjective. So it's your choice. Something like water, verb or noun.
Yeah.
But here we mean adjective.
Yes.
Let me write something for you because it's not bad. Abstract as an adjective. Oh, you're right. While I'm as an adjective, if you want to know the meaning of this, means general. As I told you, what is this? Okay, word is typing itself. Okay, something like hypothetical, or maybe hypothetical. Here we use it as the meaning of general, but hypothetical is another meaning for if you use it as an adjective. Abstract as a noun. Summary. Summary of something can be considered as abstract. And as a verb, can be
Can
summarize. Yep.
can you make an example of abstract noun?
Yeah, of course. For example, write an abstract for this essay. Summary. Or
But
abstract this text in order to, for example, I don't know, mention some key points, summarize it. Or maybe, yeah.
yeah.
For example, some abstract ideas. Abstract is here an adjective.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, well,
No, no. I'm not finished, teacher.
okay, okay. So keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Teacher, I think that I need to take a photo. Then I will
So you can
write
do
out.
something. Okay, let me do something for you. Okay, of course, this video is recorded, so you will have it. If you need, let me do something. Just give me a moment. I will send a photo for you. Just let me put them.
I I have I have taken a photo. Okay.
Okay, so it's okay. It's okay. So you have it. Well, now let's keep going. Okay. And well, do you often visit parks in your town or city?
I think when I was younger, I'm gonna say that I always pay a visit to parks at at the like in the afternoon with my aunt and my younger brother. But now I think that I'm mature enough, so I don't visit park anymore.
Yeah, okay. So when you were younger, you used to visit and you used to go to parks and visit parks regularly, maybe frequently, regularly, so you can say. But now, of course, because you think that you are mature, so okay, of course, there is no relation between, maturity and parks, so it's okay. You can be an adult and you can go to the park. Okay, well, let's have a look at this part. Actually, this is a cue card that you need to talk about. But just first of all, let's have a look at A, B, and C. Okay,
Yeah.
which one would you actually be given in the IELTS text? A or B or C?
I think A and C.
Definitely yes, A, not C, just A. Like C, describe a town in a rural area that you plan to visit. Now, you should say how far it is from your home. How far? When you plan to go, it's okay. Why it is important for people to spend time in places like this, and explain what is being done to maintain it as an area of outstanding natural beauty. So it's not good, as you can see. Where, it's okay. When you would like, it's okay. Who, okay. And explain what you would like to do there. So this one can be the best alternative. C is not really appropriate for this type of question. Okay, now uh, you're going to make your answer. Just before it, let's listen to actually the answer of one candidate to this question, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, just give me a moment to share this audio.
Yeah.
17.
Track 17.
Oh, 7. Why
What
7?
reasons do people have for becoming vegetarian?
Track 7.
So, I'm going to tell you about a town in the Lake District, which is a beautiful region in the northwest of England, pretty close to the border of Scotland. There are dozens of fantastic little villages and towns there, but the one that tops the rest is called Windermere. It sits on a huge lake and is surrounded by hills, trees, and rocks. I've been lots of times already, and I can't wait to go back. As soon as I finish the second semester at university, I'm going to head up there again. Being far up in the north, as you can imagine, it can get pretty cold in Windermere, particularly in winter. Too cold for some. Having said that, there's a real stark beauty to the town at that time. When your breath comes out like mist and the streets get white with the snow that falls. Summer is the opposite extreme. It can actually get pretty warm. Comfortable enough to wear just a t-shirt and shorts, but if you wanted to visit at that time, you'd have to get yourself prepared for all the tourists. Other times, autumn is pretty, I've been told, but I tend to visit in spring. I go every year. Just me. I have to say that I generally prefer not to go with anyone else. For one thing, you can make friends really easily if you stay in a hostel. There are young people from all over the world who make it their mission to spend a few days or a week there. As I say, it's an ideal place to go hiking or hill walking, So that's the priority for me and for hundreds of others. There's also a really interesting variety of independent local shops selling everything from cheap souvenirs to galleries full of extremely expensive art. When I go back, I'm going to do what I always do: browse through the shops after a long day walking in the countryside.
Well, okay, what do you think about candidate's answer?
I think that is I according to my view. I no, it's like according to my listen. I think that he is a native speaker.
Okay, so he was a native speaker. According to your view, no, of course. If you ask me, I think, in my opinion, so from a perspective, according to the audio, according to what we heard. Okay, so now it's your turn to make your answer. So let's get started.
Can you see
I'm
again?
gonna just let me say something.
Track 7.
Listen.
Yeah.
But the one that tops the rest is called Windermere. It sits on a huge lake and is surrounded by hills, trees, and rocks. I've been lots of times already, and I can't wait to go back. As soon as I finish the second semester at university, I'm going to head up there again. Being far up in the north, as you can imagine, it can get pretty cold in Windermere. But
Okay, let me say something about this answer. It was really good, complete, but the point here that is important, at the same time not important, about the first and second, where the town is, when you would like to go, he could answer this two question in detail. So he mentioned these two parts in details, but he talked about the third part briefly. So we spent less time than this first and second part, less time than comparing the first and second part. I want to say something. No matter, for example, that you decide to talk about one or two or three, okay, maybe in details, or maybe about one of them briefly. So it's really important if you can talk about, for example, the first item in details, and you feel like that, oh, I'm stronger in this part, so let's explain more. I have more vocabulary, I have more idiomatic phrases, so why not? Maybe. So no matter, some candidates, some students think that, okay, I need to talk about all them equally. No, first and second in details, more examples, more details, but with the third one, I definitely talk about it, but okay, not as long as, for example, the first and second part. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, now it's your time to make your answer. You have 1 minute to make your answer.
Wait, I need to take the paper.
Of course, it's okay.
Can you see again the question, please?
Of course, look here.
Yeah. And start.
Of course.
Is it enough 1 minute, teacher?
Okay, so tell me, you wrote it, finished?
Yes, yes.
Your time, okay, is counted when you finish writing. When you actually make note of the question, then you have 1 minute to think about it. So finished?
Yes.
Okay.
And now I speak.
Yeah, of course, if you're ready, you can start.
Yes, okay. And today I would tell you about the rural town that I have visit, and I also plan to visit to pay a visit to it again in the future. Is its name is Sapa. It's a district of Hanoi in the south side of Vietnam. The weather here is always cold annually, and uh, I would like to go to here on this summer because, as you know, I am a boarding student and I just free some long-term vacations or Tet holiday or summer. So I just would like to spend on I would like to spend time at Sapa on summer to avoid the hot weather of this like season. And I will go with my parents. Absolutely, because now I am just a student, so I can't afford the pay to visit to Sapa. So yes, but if I have a chance, I would go to with my friends, and we can cheer up together and not like not be prohibited and like not be prohibited by anyone, and we can do what we want to do. And I think that if I go to there with my parents, my families, I would spend more time with them, talk or like have a chilling out time with them. But if I go with my friends, I definitely will take a chance to approach the top of Fancy Bank Hill. It's the highest mountain in this like ASEAN. Yes.
Yeah.
Is it enough of 2 minutes, teacher?
Okay, yes, just let me say something first. Today, no. You don't start your answer using today. Today, okay, now, today I'm going to, or I would like to, so it's your choice. And it's better. We have something, as I told you before, coherence, cohesion, of course, we have it in writing and speaking. Your sentence should join. So which means, you need to make a whole. So you can say, I'm going to talk about a town, a place in the, for example, Hanoi district. In Hanoi district, which is, okay, now give some, okay, which is beautiful, which is, for example, cold, and I don't know which, uh, it's beautiful region, maybe in the southeast, for example, of Vietnam, and pretty and completely, for example, close to, I don't know, for example, to border of this country, and you can say something like this. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the location. Okay, but make a whole. And then, of course, you know, you can answer all questions, but it's better, maybe you want to answer them disorderly, but it's better to make them in order. So first, make your first answer, complete it, give some details, example, then keep going with the second one and the third one. So this is the best way to make your answer, to make a whole, okay?
Yeah.
And why? You have time to, and when I give you some words, I want you to use them. For example, you want to talk about somewhere beautiful. Why don't you use some idiomatic phrases or, for example, some words? Okay, so you can give, it's not important that your answer is real. It can be hypothetical. Just try to use some words, some phrases in order to make your answer better.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, now,
And
yes.
it's like if I can't start my speaking with today, how can I?
No. Why you say today? Maybe
And
it's night.
what
So
what can we use instead?
no, today you don't need to use time expression. Just, I'm going to talk. Okay, so I'm going to talk. I would like to talk. So you can say something like this. Okay, so is good. If you want to actually have a word to say, it's and you don't know what word, and you want to use something like today, don't say today, tonight. Okay, just say so. Okay, so it's good. So it's good word. You can use them. So I'm going to tell you about a town, for example, in the Hanoi district or something like this. I don't know. And then you can explain. But don't say today, tonight. Okay.
Yes.
Well, taking part three. Listen to a candidate giving good answers to part three questions. For each answer, 1 to 5, choose the corresponding question, A to E. So listen to answers and try to match them to the appropriate question. Okay, so let me play the audio.
Track 8. Answer 1.
For a number of reasons. Often I think because they are exhausted. Capital cities in particular can be very demanding places to live. The noise, the traffic, the cost of living, and people often grow tired of all that. It's just too over the top for some. They start to feel drawn to the peace and quiet that rural life might be able to give them. Generally speaking, though, I do think that it's the case that younger people, people like me, are more drawn to that vibrant city lifestyle. As soon as you get older and have a family, you start thinking it's time to move.
Answer 2.
Well, one possibility that I can foresee is that buildings will keep getting taller and taller. This has been going on for some time, all over the world, and so many people now are moving to the city. Unless this changes, we're going to need more and more homes for everyone. We might even see a 500-story skyscraper one day. That might sound ridiculous now, but cities are likely to keep expanding at the rate they are currently. So there will be no other option that I can think of.
Answer 3.
Oh, I think that would be a bit of a disaster, to be honest. Insisting that everyone uses public transport could create more problems than currently exist. Fine, if you were just visiting the city, it probably wouldn't bother you too much. But if you were a resident there, mm, then again, the streets would be safer for pedestrians, and it might do something about the levels of pollution. I do think it is bound to happen, to be honest. So, as long as people are happy to use buses and bikes instead of their cars, life will continue as normal.
Answer 4.
I can understand why people want a huge, old-fashioned house. In a similar way to living in the middle of the bright lights of the big city, there's something quite romantic about it. Having said that, I do think it depends on your age. Most people of my age, for example, prefer the idea of coming home to a smart, modern apartment every day, high up in the sky, overlooking the city. Well, it just sounds amazing. Providing I make enough money, I'll definitely be on a top floor myself one day.
Answer 5.
Well, in the old days, your whole life was in one place. You married someone from the same town, you had a job in the same village, and your family stayed around you. In some places, life is still like that. People only need to go next door or downstairs to see their parents, for example. But after people were given the opportunity to move around from one town to another, on trains or even aeroplanes, the traditional family unit started to change, I think. And people are now much more spread out. Not just nationally, but internationally. By the time I'm a grandparent, I think it will be even more different.
Well, okay, now let's match them with questions that we have here. So the first conversation, which question can be the best alternative and appropriate one? Corresponding.
I heard that is letter D.
D, of course. D or B?
D.
D, of course. Well, number 2,
A.
are you sure? I'm not sure about number 2 because, as I remember, the second one is something like, is that the building will keep getting taller and taller. So it was something about, changes. Maybe cities are likely to keep expanding at the
C.
rate they're currently. No. So what do you think about?
No. Letter A. Yes.
Of course, overpopulation. So yes. Okay, the next one.
Is C.
Sure.
Yes.
C,
Number 3.
because third, he actually talked about, actually something like a disaster, instead of using public transport, people try to use their own cars. And of course, if you actually are a visitor, it's okay. But if you were a resident, of course, it can be a really, I don't know, huge disaster maybe. So I don't think so. I think public transport and private cars. Yeah, so how about A?
Oh.
Do you agree? Public transport, private cars, disadvantages, advantages, so A. Okay, and the next one, number 4.
I see. And B.
Okay, number 4. Sure? I'm
B.
not sure.
Oh.
Because what? So, she
I
said that
I
she can
I
understand. Yeah.
I heard at the last person say that about city and countryside.
She said in number 4, she said, I will definitely be on a top floor myself one day if I have enough money. And talked about, huge old-fashioned house. And of course, bright lights of the big cities. So, as you can see, which is preferable? Living on the top floor or studio apartment block in a city? So, C. And the last one, of course, B. No matter, we're going to listen again because you need to read it, and again you need to match conversation with actually this list of functions. Okay, well, so I played again, and there is something that I can see. After class, when you have time, you can check the script on page 208, so it will be easy to understand the listening better. Okay, well, now let's check again.
Track 8. Answer 1.
For a number of reasons. Often I think because they are exhausted. Capital cities in particular can be very demanding places to live. The noise, the traffic, the cost of living. And people often grow tired of all that. It's just too over the top for some. They start to feel drawn to the peace and quiet that rural life might be able to give them. Generally speaking, though, I do think that it's the case that younger people, people like me, are more drawn to that vibrant city lifestyle. As soon as you get older and have a family, you start thinking it's time to move.
Answer 2.
Well, one possibility that I can foresee is that buildings will keep getting taller and taller. This has been going on for some time, all over the world, and so many people now are moving to the city. Unless this changes, we're going to need more and more homes for everyone. We might even see a 500-story skyscraper one day. That might sound ridiculous now, but cities are likely to keep expanding at the rate they are currently. So there will be no other option that I can think of.
Answer 3.
Oh, I think that would be a bit of a disaster, to be honest. Insisting that everyone uses public transport could create more problems than currently exist. Fine, if you were just visiting the city, it probably wouldn't bother you too much. But if you were a resident there, then again, the streets would be safer for pedestrians, and it might do something about the levels of pollution. I do think it is bound to happen, to be honest. So, as long as people are happy to use buses and bikes instead of their cars, life will continue as normal.
Answer 4.
I can understand why people want a huge, old-fashioned house. In a similar way to living in the middle of the bright lights of the big city, there's something quite romantic about it. Having said that, I do think it depends on your age. Most people of my age, for example, prefer the idea of coming home to a smart, modern apartment every day, high up in the sky, overlooking the city. Well, it just sounds amazing. Providing I make enough money, I'll definitely be on a top floor myself one day.
Answer 5.
Well, in the old days, your whole life was in one place. You married someone from the same town, you had a job in the same village, and your family stayed around you. In some places, life is still like that. People only need to go next door or downstairs to see their parents, for example. But after people were given the opportunity to move around from one town to another, on trains or even aeroplanes, the traditional family unit started to change, I think. And people are now much more spread out. Not just nationally, but internationally. By the time I'm a grandparent, I think it will be even more different.
Well, so now let's talk about them. Which one? Okay, which one could make a prediction?
Well, I need to remember.
Oh, you didn't make note. So that is really important, because actually these listenings are a bit confusing and long, so it's too difficult to remember all details. So definitely it's strongly recommended to make some notes,
Yeah, yeah.
just some words, okay? They help you. Now let me help you. Okay. The first one, if private cars were completely banned from the most overcrowded cities, what might happen? Let's just, have a look at this word. Just let me show you. Were banned,
I think
what might
I
happen? So,
I remember number. Yeah, I think that I analyze past and present. I think E.
let me say something. Of course, it's not present. This is second conditional about
I
hypothetical imaginary situation.
I mean
Okay? Yeah.
I mean like analyze past and present is letter E. Let
Letter
E.
E. Okay, so how might overpopulation you mean?
Yes.
How might affect city in the future?
Oh,
Just pay attention in the future. So this is
is it
prediction about
make
future.
observation? Yes,
So
it's make.
from the beginning, let's get started from the beginning, from A. Okay, of course you can guess them without listening to the audio again. Just like were completely banned if past simple, definitely hypothetical, imaginary situation, second conditional. So
Consider a
of
hypothetical
course,
situation.
hypothetical or imaginary. So B, how was family different before transport links connected most towns and city? Okay, now before and now, of course, we have public transport. So this is analysis of past, before, and present. How was family in the past comparing present? So something like analysis of past and present.
Yeah.
Which is preferable? Living on the top floor or a beautiful house? So you say
Um, I think that's
two things, two options, two situation, this or this. So
compare and contrast.
of course we need to compare them. And why do people decide to move from the city to the countryside? Why?
I think suggest cause and effect.
Of course, suggest cause and effects. Why? Cause and, of course, its effects. And the last one, how might, as you told you, actually
Make
told me, make a prediction. Okay, this is about future. Well, now, in the last part, these comments on candidates' performance, there are some comments on candidates' performance. Write the correct marking criteria. They corresponded to fluency and coherence, lexical resources, grammatical range, and accuracy and pronunciation. Okay. Well, let's check. The first one, would you read it?
uses stress and intonation appropriately. Example, not just nationally, but internationally.
So, use uses
Sure.
asterisk and intonation.
Can I have question?
Of
Is
course.
like is stress and intonation the same
Yeah.
meaning?
No. Asterisk and intonation. Of course, it takes time to explain again, but let me talk about it briefly. And next session, just remind me to discuss it in detail.
Okay.
When we say stress, we have word stress and sentence stress. And stress is the most important part of a sentence. Maybe I'm talking about sentence stress that can't be removed. If you remove it, the sentence doesn't make sense.
Yes.
And in word, the syllable, we have different syllables, okay? The syllable that is pronounced louder, stronger is stressed, okay? But when we say intonation, it's something like the music of our speech, like that we play with sometimes rise, sometimes falls, okay? For example, let me say, where do you go? Where do you go? This is a falling intonation. So the end of my question falls. But when I say, do you like playing? Playing now rises. This is the definition of intonation. So sometimes my voice goes up, sometimes goes down, and it's something like rises or falls. Okay,
Yeah.
this is intonation, but in stress, no, it's different. Okay, we in stress we emphasize a part of sentence or maybe a word. But in intonation, it's something like the music that we give to our sentence in order to actually make sense. And of course, we emphasize in one part, but not exactly the same as stress. Get it?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So using stress is related to
Using a express, I think the pronunciation
definitely yes. Number two,
uses a good range of more advanced structures naturally. If you were just visiting the city, it probably wouldn't bother you. That might sound ridiculous now, but cities are likely to keep expanding at the rate they are currently. I think that's grammatical range and accuracy.
GRA, of course. Three,
Teacher,
yeah,
that's like if we use some advanced structure, the pen will be higher.
of course, yes. Yes, let me say something. Advanced is different from complex and complicated. Some candidates, actually some students think that if they use some structures are not really common to use in speaking. For example, they use something that is not really common and they think, oh, I made a really advanced. No, it doesn't work. Really good structure, it means here, when we say range, it means difference. It means when I'm making my speech, when I give talk, I don't need to use only present simple. This is safe, not risky, but it's really basic. So I say, okay, passive, past simple, and let's use used to, present continuous. Okay, I combine some common structures and grammar in order to expand the range of my grammar. So I show my ability. Okay, I'm able to use different structures, but not uncommon and something like rare structures that we normally don't use. For example, in your language, you have some grammars that you normally, I don't know, you don't use it. And we have the same thing in English. So it means different combination of different structures, not very difficult or maybe rare. Okay. Well, my dear, we need to skip this part because we have no more time. So next session, we will keep going with this section. Okay. Any questions, any issues related to this part?
I think. Hmm. And I just want to ask like, uh, if I want to use like conditional type 2 of my speaking, but like I need I need a while to think about this structure, then I can say it.
Okay, say I didn't. If you need to use conditionals, okay, you need to think about them.
Yes, and I need to take time, and I can speak
Ah,
fluently if I use advanced structure.
because of course, you are talking about gaps, so something like hesitation, pause. Okay, so that's really important when you want to actually, when you're going to use structure, you need to use it a few, maybe a lot of times in order to learn it so that you don't need to take time to think about it. For
Yes,
example, second conditional, that's really easy to you. Okay, so you need to practice and use it again and again so that, okay, now I can make it. Okay, so now while practicing for your IELTS, it's a very good time to use different variety of structures, various structures like especially used to, conditionals, past continuous, and something that passive. That is the best one. If you want to increase your score to get a higher score, it's good to use passive word, and no matter present passive, past passive, okay, just try to use, don't use active sentence. So it's a good time to practice. You need to practice a lot.
yes, okay.
Okay, thank you so much. It was really good time with you. Of course, if you have any questions, any issues, you can ask me on Skype. I will answer. And just this, have a great week and see you next session. Don't forget about starting this part, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Goodbye.